Okay, in this video, I want to review how to process time off request. And first, I want to check our dashboard. The ambassadors will find our time off request on a program forms page. And here is the form itself. This is the video I made. I know it's horrible, but here is the form. After filling out this form and clicking on the last page, submit, all the time off request or schedule adjustments will go to this Excel document. You can find it in CAP Forms, Google Drive, time off and schedule adjustments. Here you will see two forms, actually surveys, and one Excel document. This is the document where you're going to work. Do not delete the copy of the time off request. Why? If you want to do any changes, this is where you're gonna find how to adjust your time off request, what you have right now, if it's working out, if you make any changes, if it's actually going to mess up. Sometimes when you make some edits, the form crashes because there's a conflict between pages. So I would recommend to actually work on a copy. Then when it's working, you finalize the outcome and all that, look and update the actual form. But for now, you will work in this Excel document. So let's look at it. This is the form, and actually this last request was not being approved yet, and we need to send it. So what I would do, I would copy the date and I would post it on one of those tabs. I have two tabs with the templates for the emails. But you see, our format right now, we have day 1, day 2 next to it, day 3, day 4, day 5. But it is easier in the email if dates underneath each other. It's easier to see what's happening. So I created a couple templates, like this one for 2 weeks or so, or for a couple days. So this is the date. I would copy information I have over here into this format. Now I just need to highlight it and make sure all the borders are visible. I'm copying this information. I would open new email and I would start a new email. Hi, Fernanda and Victor. Always send a time off request in the beginning to the team lead and to the program manager. Please review time off request from Janet. And I was just pasted there. Finish my email. In subject, it's time off or schedule adjustment. It depends what type of request it is. Now we need to send it to Fernanda, to program manager, to the team lead. And in this case, since team lead is off, I would also CC a backup team lead who is going to run a team on that date probably. Remember, backup team leads, they are not allowed to approve time off requests. What they can do, they can help to fill out requests. They can notify management there is a request and there is urgent request that has to be approved right away or something like that, but they're not allowed to approve it. But I would CC anyway because they need to know the schedule. And I would just send it. We did that. So now let's look at the process. After team, after ambassadors are submitted their request, we just reviewed request in Excel document. We combine it into one team because it was only one person. It's easier, and we send it in email to program management and the team lead. Next step would be for team lead to approve this request and for the manager to approve it too. If I don't see approval for a day or so, I would start to contact program manager and the team lead, ask what's happening, if that request is not going to be approved, and all that. If it's approved, then go with the normal steps. Just initiate a new email to ambassador who requested it with text what's your time of request been approved with the regular body, what the information they actually requested, and put the information in Google Calendar. That's basically all the steps what have to be done. My tips would be for this process, if there are any requests what need clarifications, when you receive them and you read in and let's say somebody made a mistake on a date or they made mistakes on uh, how many days they want to request. We know, let's say somebody is going to request 2 weeks off for the winter break and they just requested a couple days. I would go back to the team leads and say, hey, I received such and such a request, and we know what that person is supposed to request in 2 weeks off. Can you clarify if that person needs help and all that? Please do not follow up with the people individually, and especially on what type of pay they are requesting. Remember, it's not our job to monitor how many sick pay hours they have. If they want to use sick pay, then this is what we will have in the email. It's on them to actually figure out how many pay time they have. Let's see. Oh, after you receive approval from team lead and Fernanda, program manager, you would go to weekly schedule and you would also actually add it over here. So since we know it will be approved, I would do until 2 o'clock. It's 5 hours. And here we will have 6 hours. Since Janet is assigned to work at the Latino task force that day, so she will be helping mission team. Now I need to update mission team schedule too because we just updated Chinatown. We have people on both schedules. That way team leads can actually plan their work and it's easier for them to know what's happening. Okay, and here it's supposed to be from 9. Now it's until 2. And it's only 4 hours of work. Now we're all done with the approving one time off request and finalizing all the documents that have to be followed up for the time off or schedule adjustments request. That's it. Good luck.